I am excited to get a chance to share with you just a quick overview of our lesson this week. Our lesson is from Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 to 33. And this story is Jesus walking on the water. So right before this happens, Jesus has just fed the crowd of 5,000 people with a small boy's lunch. And if you remember at the end of that story, so in Matthew chapter 14, verse 20, it says, "And they all ate and were satisfied, and they took up 12 baskets full of the broken pieces left over. And all those who ate were 5,000 men, besides the women and children. Immediately he made the disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side." So in my mind, I picture these disciples who have just seen this incredible thing that they can't explain. And they are literally holding on to the remnants of this miracle that they cannot explain, carrying these baskets full of leftovers. And they get on the boat to head to the other side. And I'm sure their conversation is like, I cannot believe what just happened. Like, I know I saw it. I know I ate. I know my belly's full. I know I'm holding this basket of leftovers, but this does not make sense. How in the world did this happen? At least that's how I would be thinking. And then as they're on the boat, they've been on the water for a little while, a storm comes up. And if you'll remember, on this sea that they spend most of their time in, it's like an inland sea, and these storms come a lot. They are not infrequent. Most of these men are fishermen, so this is not something necessarily abnormal for them, but the storm does come up very quickly. And so they are on the shore in the boat, a long way from the land. They have been beaten and tossed all about by this storm. And they look out and they see Jesus walking to them on the water. But immediately they go to a place of fear. It's a ghost. What's happening? Beginning to believe in some of these superstitions that they had heard around the fishing culture that they were in. And as Jesus sees that they're fearful, he hollers at them, "Don't be afraid, it's me." And Peter, who I love Peter, because either he is knocking it out of the park, like nailing it, getting everything right, or he's completely striking out, sticking his foot in his mouth, saying something crazy, which I think is a little bit like me. So I really can connect with Peter. And Peter says, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to walk out on the water." Now, this statement is pretty important because Peter was a fisherman by trade. If you remember when Jesus called him, he left his haul of fishing, this giant catch of fish, just left it and immediately followed Jesus. So Peter knows if you jump into the water or step into the water, you're going to sink. But he has seen Jesus just do all of these miracles. And he says, "You know what? If it's you, call to me." And Jesus says, "Okay, come on." And Peter begins to step out onto the water. And not only does he step out, he begins to walk on top of the water. Now, I've been to lots of bodies of water, and every time I get in it, I sink right to the bottom and I have to swim or dog paddle or something. Peter walks on top of it. And then in verse 30, it says, "But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink, crying out, 'Lord, save me.'" So when Peter's focusing on Jesus, he's doing this incredible, unexplainable thing. But the minute he takes his eyes off Jesus, the fear and the worry and the wonder set in, and he begins to sink. So immediately, he reaches out his hand and he grabs Peter and pulls him up. And he doesn't give him a list of all the ways that he messed up. He doesn't begin to chastise him or yell at him. He just says, "You of little faith." And the way that he says it is a very endearing way. He's not being mean to him. He's "I got you. Don't worry, I've got you. Don't doubt. Why are you doubting? Don't doubt me." Then they both get into the boat and the wind stops. And everyone just begins to worship him. And rightfully so, because this is an incredible thing that they saw. And then they say, truly, you are the Son of God. Because look at what they've just observed him do in the last 24 hours. So this week, as you are sharing the story with your kids, something fun to do is take a bucket, a tote-sized bucket, fill it with a little bit of water, and have them take their shoes off and step into it and see if they can walk on the water. Well, obviously, they won't be able to because they're not Jesus. We're not Jesus. Jesus does things that we can't explain, which is our big idea. This unit. They can also make a boat and see if they can make a paper boat and color it and see if they can get it to float on top of the water. That'd be a good one for your older kids. You can take the blocks out and have them walk on top of the blocks and step on top of blocks and make a path. There are several really great ideas in here. Have them share some of the ways that they remember from their Bible lessons of things that Jesus did that were unexplainable, things that didn't quite make sense. But I pray that this week, as you prepare for your lesson, that this would be a blessing, that you would think of and be reminded of the ways in your life that God's been working and the ways that he's done things that you can't always explain, but how you know that he's there and he's taking care of you. And in those moments where you have little faith or you're doubting or you're struggling with something, that you feel that tender mercy from the Lord, not a spirit of condemnation, but a spirit of incredible grace and love. So thankful for you guys. And I just pray that this is a wonderful week for you. And I'm so looking forward to seeing you on Sunday. Thanks.